Good evening. Welcome to Love Your Neighbor Weekend Film Screening. It's great to be with you all. My name is Landon Rank, and I'm the coordinator for the Interfaith Sanctuary Alliance of Santa Barbara. Before we begin tonight's program, we want to pay our respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this event takes place, the Chumash people. We would also like to pay respect to elders, both past and present, as well as other Indigenous people present. As we begin, we invite you all to introduce yourselves in the chat window. We're here this Love Your Neighbor weekend as people of faith and people of conscience to recommit to our sacred duty of loving our immigrant neighbors and welcoming the stranger. This weekend is co-sponsored by the Interfaith Sanctuary Alliance of Santa Barbara, the Immigrant Legal Defense Center of Santa Barbara County, Immigrant Hope Santa Barbara, and IMPORTA SB. Let's just take a minute to breathe together. A 2017 study estimates that 39,000 of our neighbors in Santa Barbara County are undocumented. They have stories every bit as real as that of Luis, Alejandra, Ron, Karen, Bar, and the others on this video. Some of them may even be on this call with us tonight. We're extremely fortunate to have with us tonight three local experts who work tirelessly to support our neighbors in the fight for justice. I'm going to introduce them. Marline Flores is the Executive Director of IMPORTA Santa Barbara and a Department of Justice accredited legal representative. Karla is the Director of Legal Services and an accredited legal representative at Immigrant Hope Santa Barbara. Vega is the staff attorney with the Immigrant Legal Defense Center of Santa Barbara County, and all three of our panelists tonight are SB County natives. So just to begin, I would love for each of you to give us some introductions. Starting with Marline, can you briefly tell us about your organization and the services you provide? I think it'll help if you can help us distinguish what it is each of your organizations provides different from the others.
Great. Well, buenas noches. Thank you for having us. Again, my name is Marline Flores, and I'm one of the accredited representatives, and I'm the Executive Director at IMPORTA. IMPORTA is a nonprofit organization that was authorized by the Department of Justice back in 2012 to practice immigration law. We provide free legal services, and it can be from something as simple as a consultation to a family petition. We represent every single client to USCIS in both our Santa Barbara and Santa Maria offices.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Such a pleasure to be with everybody. And yeah, it's just so hard. This is my first time seeing this, and it's a lot to take in, but our organization, Immigrant Hope Santa Barbara, we also provide legal services to anyone in the community, like Marline said, consultations and representation to USCIS. We are also accredited, and recently with full accreditation, we will be able to expand those services to further representation in immigration court. So we're really looking forward to be able to use that and yeah, just provide another resource to this community.
Hi everyone, my name is Vega. I am an immigration attorney with the Santa Barbara County Immigrant Legal Defense Center, the ILDC. We are a nonprofit organization that provides indigent immigrants equal access to justice by preserving their rights to due process in immigration court. The format that we have is that in addition to my caseload, our organization is able to represent folks in immigration removal proceedings thanks to our volunteer attorneys who donate their time and talents by providing pro bono legal assistance. Our volunteer attorneys are generally attorneys with no prior immigration law experience, but they're attorneys who have the desire to help immigrants in our community. And here at the ILDC, we work closely with our volunteer attorneys by equipping them with the tools that they need and pairing them with mentoring attorneys to help them navigate their cases.
Thank you all so much. And I think I speak for everyone on this call when we say thank you for all that you do and that you'd be willing to take time on a Saturday night. I think just watching this film, we see how difficult this work is, how it's confusing and saddening. And so we really appreciate your energies towards these efforts. I think one of the big questions on everyone's mind right now is it's 2021. A lot has changed, a lot remains the same, and we're not all sure what that is. And so my question to you is, what do you think is ahead for your organization and for your clients, specifically given all the changes that have come about in this year?
Yeah, well, 2021, new administration, we expect a lot of new changes. But however, in 2021, we will require extensive education and outreach to warn our immigrant community against scam, which always increases when there's an exaggerated publicity about possible major changes in immigration law. This happened back, I believe it was like in 2014, 2015 with DAPA, where there was a huge news about what was happening, which was, for those who don't know, DAPA was something that was similar to DACA. So educating our community, informing them who are the accredited representatives, who are the immigration attorneys out there who can help our community is going to be a huge, huge campaign for all of us. Because what we want is for the best for our community and to let them know what their possibilities are and to have them go to the right organizations and the right people who are honest. I think that's going to be one of our biggest challenges, 2021.
Yeah, I second with what Marlene talked about, the importance of awareness and education and just outreach in general, just putting a footprint in our community to be able to raise the realities and what is the updates and the changes with immigration and the policies that are implemented. Along with that, I do see definitely a lot more hope given with this administration, seeing already some changes happening this year with the new administration. So I really, really am hoping to see that the fear instilled in the past years fade away or dissipate. I mean, it's not going to be something that will be from one day to the next, but definitely I feel that the leader, the immigrant community will feel that they're being heard, or their situations are being raised for action, for legal action and policy making for this coming year and more to come. So yeah.
Landon, one of the things that we see that is next for our organization, and we are hoping to continue fighting to release folks from detention and removal proceedings in general by increasing the amount of people that we are representing today. We want to continue recruiting more volunteer attorneys, more experts to help assist our cases and help develop our cases, and in particular, family law attorneys to help us with our special immigrant juvenile status cases that we have currently in our waiting list. And one of the things that I particularly see will increase the need for legal aid assistance in our county is the end to the migrant protection protocols, the MPP program, or the Stay in Mexico program. President Biden is beginning to gradually process thousands of asylum seekers forced to wait in Mexico under the MPP program. And his goal is to, at least this is what he's verbalized, is to eliminate the program and process over 25,000 migrants with active claims. And what this really means moving forward is that those folks who were forced to stay in Mexico as part of the MPP program will be able to proceed with their immigration cases inside of the United States and carry out their case or fight their cases here. However, entry to the United States through the MPP program does not guarantee the right of a person to stay in the country, nor does it affect eligibility for relief or defense against removal. So what this means is that folks will have to continue fighting their cases before an immigration judge and prove that they're eligible for some sort of benefit like asylum. And it is known and it is proven that folks who have representation have a larger probability of winning their cases just by simply having an attorney who can help them navigate the system. So it is important for our community to know that there will be an influx of folks who will need representation. And we encourage everyone to continue supporting organizations that help immigrants in our community.
No, thank you all so much. We do have some questions coming in right now. I'd encourage anyone, if you have a question, please feel free to type it into the chat window, or into the question box as well, that's fine. But as we do that, I'd just be curious to hear from each of you if you'd be willing to share just what compels you personally, like what motivates you in all this work.
Honestly, it's our work is very, very rewarding. It's very, very challenging too, as we all saw the videos. But just knowing that we can help someone, give them an honest answer, whether it's a yes, there's something you can do, and this is how we can do it, and obtain a permanent residency is very, very rewarding. Or even informing them and educating them, and unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. And this is what you should do to keep safe and not go elsewhere where someone gets ripped off is also very rewarding, because there's just been so many stories, and it happens here in our Santa Barbara County, and it's very, very sad when we see these cases come to us. So, I mean, the work that we do is very, very rewarding. And I mean, just educating our people, I think, is a huge, huge key.
Yeah, so one of the things that compels me, there's so many. I mean, it's just being front row with everything, and that when you're with somebody in your office, and just honestly, I think that the one of the things that compels me to do this work is just being able to just be there for them. And we've seen a lot of individuals where they have gone, they're trying to find different options, and I think in our community it is very hard to get that trust, and that's the important thing. And I think that by being able to educate and tell them the reality of what if there is a possibility for their circumstance, the important thing is that we are empowering them by letting them know what is the reality of everything. And it comes with challenges, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. It's worth every second of all of those days that can bring a lot of concernment or doubt and so many things, but I think at the end of the day, it's just being there, that they can go and seek some kind of go-to place, like, Immigrant Hope, IMPORTA, ILDC, that they know that these places are places that are there for their best interest, and just sometimes all that they need is someone to just be there and just listen, because once again, I feel like just living in the shadows, not really being able to express their stories and what they've gone through, that is the reason I would say that compels me to continue to do this work.
So what compels me to do the work that I do is I am daughter of immigrants. I was able to witness firsthand my mother's struggle and journey to adjust her status in this country. My mother retained an immigration attorney who did not speak my mother's native language and definitely did not understand my mother's trauma and her fears in navigating her immigration case. I became an attorney for that same reason, because I know firsthand the barriers to access to justice that our communities face, and specifically immigrant communities face. And I want to continue being that bridge between my community and a seemingly complicated immigration system.
Thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, as you're talking about this, we're hearing all these different complications, whether it's the language barrier, whether it's the lack of knowledge about what resources are real and which ones are total scams. There's so much that needs to be done. And so I know many folks on this call are wondering what we can do to support you all. I do want to encourage everyone that if you visit loveyourneighborsb.org/action, we have a listing of different ways to support all three of these separate organizations. They're all listed out. There are volunteer opportunities, everything from administrative support to teaching English classes at Immigrant Hope to ways that you can donate to each organization. We strongly encourage you to check it out, and I'll put the link in the chat window as well. But that's going to be one of the easiest ways that you can find a long list of ways that we can work together. And I'll share some of these other action items at the end. But before we go to those, I want to go to some of these questions that we've gotten. For folks from IMPORTA and Immigrant Hope, can you please explain the challenges of many immigrants believing that notaries are equivalent to lawyers?
Yeah. So what are the challenges? So in Latino America and Latin America, notarios are also known as attorneys. So what happens when people come to us is, well, you're not an attorney, so you probably don't know what you guys are doing. Or since you guys are not charging, you guys don't know what you guys are doing. So there's this myth in our culture where the one who charges the most has more knowledge. So then that's one of our biggest challenges we've always faced, where people come to us and are like, so usted no es abogada, usted no tiene abogados, probablemente no sabe lo que están haciendo. And eventually we do get them back because they go to an attorney that charges them $5,000, $10,000, and they're like, we can't afford that. I'm like, this is why we're here. This is why we're here to help our community. And I don't know if you want to add anything else, Karla.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, along with that, I mean, it's just, I think also the fact that, one of the challenges is that, once again, it comes, I think, with just the trust that if you go to somebody and it sounds like, wow, like they're using all these words and it sounds like it makes sense. And so then you kind of, tend to kind of not think about the person, like the background of that individual who's sharing that information. And so, you can see even when I talk to people and, they start like referring to one as abogada. And then I have to step in and say, no, I am not an attorney. I am an accredited representative. And, this is the work that we do. And at the end of the day, later down the road, as the conversations and relationship flows, they somehow still think that, that you are an attorney. And so I think just there's just so much trust in a way that's being placed on just anybody that would give them information that, sometimes, they want to hear what they want to hear. And so I think the challenge there is that, they give them this promise or this idea or concept that it is possible, but obviously we know that that is going to affect them later down the road because it's something that they're not eligible for, or they're submitting some documentation that they are not like I said, not eligible. And so then that ends up affecting them permanently sometimes down the road. So it is definitely challenging to be able to explain the difference between what we do, what our role is, and people who are preparers and can advise you, but they're not accredited reps or attorneys. So
yeah, and then educating again, explaining to them what can an attorney do, what can an accredited representative do, what form comes along with that, what is the G28, how do I know this person can represent me? I mean, educating.
I think undocumented, citizen, non-citizen, like the layperson just doesn't understand our legal system, our immigration system anyway. So factoring in cultural differences, language barriers, you guys have it's a tough climb. We have a question about, it's kind of the question on everyone's minds this year. Do you think there will be a significant immigration reform this year? And this is kind of to all of you.
I will take a stab at it. I don't know. And I think it's, you know, I feel like attorneys, we always respond by saying it depends. And I think it really does depend. It depends on what happens. What we do know is that President Joe Biden has sent a bill to Congress. It's called the Us Citizenship Act of 2021, and it includes an 8-year pathway to citizenship for qualifying undocumented immigrants. And according to the Migrant Policy Institute, they estimate that approximately 3.3 million folks with no current permanent status could be eligible for citizenship under this legislation. Of course, politics and parties are definitely going to influence the outcome of this bill. We are hopeful, and we want to continue, you know, putting pressure on our elected representatives to represent really what our interests are, and it is to have a reform, as we all, you know, desire and are working towards it, but it's unknown, right? Like wishful thinking. I don't know if either of you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I completely agree. We don't know. Who knows? All I can say is let's just push pressure and reach out to those who have political power. Because who knows? But I always say we're all in this together, and together we'll win.
Yeah, I triple what everybody said already, hoping that perhaps, once again, we don't know, perhaps not this year, but within the upcoming 4 years, it is something that actually does pass Congress and it's signed into law, because there's so many steps to get to that to the fruition of that happening. And so, yes, it was amazing and it was great to hear that announcement, but the work is not, it's just starting. So the importance here is, yes, reaching out to your congressman, reaching out to your congresswoman. They are the ones who are essentially going to bring feedback on our behalf in Congress. And so that's just the important moves right there, to be able to have like-minded perspectives when it comes to this great seed that was planted. I think it was this month or last month. I don't know anymore, but yeah. So
it's been quite a year already. If you are interested in learning more just about this legislation, the U.S. Citizenship Act, or other bipartisan legislation that's going before Congress, we did have a really great conversation on Thursday night, panel conversation, and that recording is up on our website. And I'll post the link here, and you can view the slides there as well to anyone who's interested. We have a question about programming in Santa Barbara. Are there any programs or support that exist for undocumented youth locally?
In Santa Barbara, we have Future Leaders of America. And Santa Maria. I think it's all Santa Barbara County, if I'm not wrong.
That's correct.
Great program. I can't think of any other one. I don't know.
I know that in Oxnard, MyCop, which is another organization, they serve majority of the Mixteco indigenous communities. And I know that they also, I don't know what their the name of the organization, or under their organization, the name of the program, but they do provide, it's kind of like, I guess, Future Leaders of America. And then at the end of the year or before school starts, they do grant those who apply like scholarships for school once they're merging into college, and I think even when they're already in school. So that organization is MICOP, MyCop, and they are also amazing. They do amazing work as well.
And they're in Oxnard and Santa Maria as well.
Oh, Santa Maria. Yes. Mm-hmm. Benito. I forgot about Benito.
Right. And then also the Dream Centers at all our local colleges.
Will you just explain briefly what the Dream Centers are?
So The one that we work closely with is in Santa Maria, and at the Dream Center, it's a place where everyone feels comfortable to go. Either it's to fill out scholarships, request funding for DACA applications to cover the $495. It's just a space where they can go to and feel comfortable and ask any questions. I also know that there's also attorneys at these Dream Centers, and I believe that's with UFW Foundation, who they can also reach out to and ask. And they're also an organization that provides free legal services as well.
Thank you all. We may have some other questions that come in, but as we're beginning to wrap up, I wanted to just share these action items and go through them in a little bit more depth. We talked about these some on Thursday night if you were there with us, but there is an ICE out of Santa Barbara County working group that's forming under the 805 Immigrant Coalition, and that group will be working specifically to try and build accountability for our local sheriff's office to ensure that they're not entangled with ICE. In the state of California, it's actually illegal for them to be cooperating, working with ICE. And so this working group will be working to ensure that that's the case in our county and with our county jails. There's several California state legislation, pieces of legislation that are coming up potentially this year that we want to be advocating for. One being Health for All, which would ensure healthcare is accessible even to those who are undocumented. Safety Net for All, which provides unemployment benefits to those who are undocumented. And ICE out of California, which is, again, working to advocate for those measures that to help to ensure that our law enforcement is separate and separated from ICE to keep things fair. As I mentioned, there's plenty of ways to volunteer and support these wonderful organizations that we have talked with tonight. You can join our email list with the ISA for upcoming actions. You can donate through again, all of these are on that link above. And if you donate there, the donation will be split 4 ways between our 4 organizations. And the last thing we want to do too is just keep encouraging folks that many of us know people who are not involved in this conversation. Many of us know people who are apolitical or think that it doesn't affect them. And so why should I care about it? And we really want to encourage us to all take a stand on this and to say it's our job to help educate folks about why this matters, about the fact that these are our neighbors, as I said, 39,000 folks in Santa Barbara County. And so we encourage you to commit to actually taking the step of having a conversation with someone that you know about what you've been talking about this weekend. So there's a way on that web link to sort of make that commitment. We have another question that just came in asking how the Mexican Consulate would help. What kind of services they provide?
Yeah, so I know that the Mexican Consulate, they do help provide, they cover fees. So they work with I've seen this with the prior immigration office that I worked at, where the Mexican Consulate coordinates with the attorney on behalf of the individual to seek some kind of assistance to help pay for the attorney fees for their pending process. And I know that they used to hold, workshops and provide even services in different locations to help with renewing their passports or getting matriculas. And so I know that they work in that way, and I've seen it, seeing it happen. But I don't know of any other additional services or that I might have missed that the Mexican Consulate can help in that way.
That covers a lot of it. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that point. But Landon, I do want to go back to the question of what kinds of things people can do to help that are for people who are not attorneys. And I want to make this very clear. You do not have to be an attorney to help immigrants in our community. This is such a key piece of information that I want everybody to kind of go home with. We constantly use people who volunteer their time to drive folks to their immigration court hearings. I know things are weird right now because of COVID, but we're hoping that once things settle a little bit, we can start doing that again. We, of course, accept donations to help cover costs, even for people, for example, to cover their cell phone bills. A lot of the times people are not able to get a hold of their attorneys or their accredited representatives because they don't have an active cell phone. We are constantly also looking for expert witnesses. So if you are a counselor or someone who can support one of our cases, we would love to chat. So just know that there is so much you can do, and you do not have to be an attorney. You don't have to have a degree of any sort to help immigrants in your community. There's really so much you can do, as Landon is saying, and directing you to all of these resources. Please check them out and see how you can support.
Karla and Marline, I don't know if you want to talk about how non-attorneys can also help your organizations. Feel free.
Exactly what Maria just mentioned, but also at IMPORTA, we do encourage everyone to donate, and donations can go towards to IMPORTA, or they can also sponsor a DACA recipient. We've had families where there's more than one sibling and mom cannot afford all 4 siblings to apply or to renew their DACA work authorization. Again, it's $495 per application. So sponsoring a DACA recipient would be very, very helpful.
Yeah, and yeah, same kind of yeah, with Immigrant Hope, where volunteers, we are not able to do the work that we do without volunteers. Volunteers are amazing. I mean, we are currently also helping by distributing soap. We do soap pantry, so we're giving soap for families during these times, and also we also do learning pods for kids. Helping them while they're going to school and having some monitoring there for them, and yeah, I mean, donating to whatever way that you want to give. We are totally open to that, and we do offer civics classes for those who apply for who are applying or have applied for naturalization, and a lot of them do definitely appreciate to have one-on-one help with preparing them for their exam once they get the interview, and I know that they feel the support by having people show up and be there for them. So I mean, yeah, volunteers, donations. We're up and coming for a fundraiser called Bike for Hope, and so the proceeds will go to the fees for individuals who are coming to get some kind of service at the moment after Bike for Hope is done. But more to come on that and on our website.
And we're at about time, but we just had a quick yes or no question. Do you need to be able to speak Spanish to be useful for these causes?
No, no.
So we do want to wrap up. I know there are some questions we weren't able to get to tonight, so we'll make sure and email these out so that we can follow up with you. But I don't know about you all, I'm feeling more hopeful. And I do really encourage everyone to go check out the ways that you can support. There are so many ways that we can love our neighbors right now. And especially in a time of need during the pandemic, we really need to be banding together to support those who may need it the most. And so we want to say thank you so much for coming tonight. We want to say thank you to all of our panelists, Maria, Karla, Marline. We're so grateful for the work you do in the community. And so honored to have this chance to speak with you tonight. So thank you.
Landon, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Landon.
everybody.
Thank you all, and everyone have a great night.